What's poppin', everybody? Week 2 National Football League. Let's get after it. Full slate. Of course, we got 2 Monday night games. Of course, we had Thursday night football go down. But let's get after it, boys. We have obviously a full slate of games. I have some bets that I took on stream earlier this week. I have a lot of stuff that I want to talk about from a game perspective. But give me a second to get some tweets out, letting everybody know that I am live and we're, of course, talking some ball. We're going to go through all the boosts on all the books. I'll post those and we'll get those going as well to make sure that we're just capitalizing on the boosts on, FanDuel and DraftKings like we do. I know a lot of people here might be limited on some of those books. But I know a lot of people also just love the sweat and want that. So we're going to stick to some of the square stuff, some of the sharp stuff. Of course, we're going to be, finding some plus EV. We're close to kickoff, obviously, with it being Sunday. So obviously, a lot of the big EVs gone. The best way to do it is to bet early in the week and go from there. So what I think we're going to do today, I'm going to go until about 12:30. So we have a nice 2 hours together. I'm going to go game by game, look through the prop menus, talk about some of the bets that I've made, some of the bets that I would still make regardless of what happened, as well as, just talk about some of the outlook that I have here. Pull up Underdog and other monitor just to see if any last minute injury news. Of course, injuries are massive for the National Football League. All right, we got Underdog going. Schefter's Ravens plan to draft Shedeur Sanders. All right, that's something that we don't need. Purdy, of course, not playing. We know all this. Trent Williams, a GTD, so we'll take a look at Trent and see what's going on. We have the board here. We're using Pick the Odds, an amazing plus EV, arbitrage, live betting pregame, as well as odds screen tool. Also, a bunch of amazing calculators, low holds, middles, free bet converter, absolutely amazing sports betting tool. So make sure you take a look at Pick the Odds if you guys aren't utilizing them as well. They have a free tier, so you guys can make sure to take advantage of Pick the Odds and their free version as well. But we're going to go game by game here. Right now, started the week with a loser, Packers Commanders. We lost a couple of the props that we took as well, but we did hit a Tucker Craft tutty. Overall, I think I was down like 1.3U on Thursday, so not the end of the world there, all things considered. But let's go game by game here. So Seahawks, Steelers. I've talked about all these games on stream, so we have a lot of time and do want to get as much actual information as possible. Of course, we're so close to game time that things are as sharp as they're really going to be with highest limits, market efficiency at its peak. But Seahawks Steelers. So this is a game where I think it's a Pittsburgh spot. Steelers are -3. The market has moved, and we can always check on the real-time market odds of what's been going down with Steelers and Seahawks. This is just at the 3 Seahawks plus. Look at some of the pricing. We could zoom out a little bit here and take a look how it's moved throughout the course of the week. PTO has updated actually their real-time odds. So you can see both teams at the same time, though. Maybe there's a setting I have to activate there, which I have not done. We can also have the average line here, which I think is cool. Let's add that in there. Oh, there we go. There's the setting. So we could see kind of in like a prediction market type of interface here. This is beautiful. This is actually my first time showing this off on stream. I was playing around with it the other day. They just made this update not too long ago. So this is absolutely awesome. This is the spread, the average odds of what's been going down with the 3. Steelers getting the juice on the 3 with some books sitting 3.5, others still holding that 3. Seahawks overall would be plus money, 48.09%. We can go back to we can take off both. We got to take off the average line there. Still playing around. It's my first time utilizing that on stream. Like I mentioned, I was just playing around with a little bit of stream lag here. What's going on? Take off that average line. Actually, we could just hop out of this because realistically, we could just look at everything here. As you can see, 3.5s juiced, though. That's 115 is a pretty good price, though. Novig, the best price there. Only 106, 160 in liquidity, so not a ton there. Profit X at -112, which is better than the DraftKings. 27K in liquidity for Profit X, so shout out to them for having some great liquidity, though Novig having the best price, but if you can't bet the price, it's not overall that great of a situation. But we'll look at the total here as well and see what we're looking at. Total points. Pick the Odds showcases every odd, so you could see all the alternate lines, and of course, there's a lot of EV on alts. looking like these total is really 41, 40 and a half. Of course, 41 a key number. So it's either at 41 and a half, which is very much used to the under, and the 40 and a half is more of the consistent price of market. As you see, Penny with 106 on each way, circa 110 on each way. Bookmaker choosing to the over. Interestingly enough, Profit X as well, with great liquidity on both sides, 6.7K up top and 17K on this under, and it's not hard to see why. So kind of just talking ball, as well as, of course, using the market. We're going to always defer to the market, but Aruba will talk some ball. I think the Seahawks stink. I was kind of mixed on them throughout the beginning of the season. I always love when a team is kind of under talked about. NFL is truly a zig when people zag type of environment, and this defense is probably still good, but Sam Darnold looked awful, like absolutely awful. And even last year, I think someone mentioned, I think it was on the Hammer show, where Darnold last year obviously had a good season. The Vikings did amazing things. He was still just like the 16th best quarterback from some EPA measures as well. So it's not like even a perfect situation with one of the best offensive coaches in football. Of course, good run game, just Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison. It's not like he lit up the world on fire. And now he has such a worse cast of characters. Obviously, Jason looks like a beast. Splitting Walker Charbonnet. So this is always also overreaction week in the NFL, which is it's aptly named because it just fits the criteria perfectly. It's exactly what it is. You have guys who teams who turn up based off week one, and then teams who do poorly on week one, and then of course the market kind of completely flips with sentiments, whether that be from sharp bettors really truly upgrading teams big time or downgrading teams big time. It's a little bit of that. It's something I like to mention, as I talk about a lot, is week one really is an anomaly, especially when like taking a look at the board, because the teams do have like an extra week plus to prepare. Of course, beginning training camp, you're trying to see who makes the roster, you're installing your offense, you're getting guys up to speed, you're trying new things, working on special teams, goal line, 2-minute, 4-minute drill, etc. But those 2 weeks leading up to that game is solely focused on your opponent week one. As we saw with like Dallas, for example, they put out a completely zone-heavy defensive scheme to go against the Birds, and that's not how Dallas is going to run their defense all year. They're not playing zone at like a 95% rate every single game without covering some man. That was a scheme, and you saw that. And another example I would say is like Cleveland, Cincinnati. Jim Schwartz has really always done a good job against Joe Burrow and the Bengals. And week one, with the extra time to prepare, they should have won that football game, but we saw that right then and there. So then the question is, how much do you downgrade the Bengals? How much do you downgrade the Browns? Patriots, Colts, Dolphins. How much do you downgrade the Colts after that? How much do you upgrade the Dolphins after that game? Right? What do you do? And now that we're right before the games kick off, obviously there is a lot of efficiency in the market. So if you're not betting early and getting a lot of CLV, it actually is a good time to bet these games right now, because you're not going to lose as much. These games are as close to true coin flips now. And like, yes, you have the VIG. So if you're getting minus 110, you still are expected to lose betting this close to kickoff, like more likely than not. But you should be losing less because you're betting efficient markets. And then again, you're playing coin flips with minus 110. So like the juice is there for losing. But with that being said, we are going to try to find some winners. So a little bit of a quick spiel to start, but let's look at some props here. I had not bet this game from a prop perspective, but the running backs are going to be really interesting to me. And what I noticed about Seattle, we hit big time on Charbonnet tutties last week. We were big Sharp fans last night. Ken Walker didn't do anything. But they were kind of like splitting drives pretty equally. It was literally like, okay, this is a Charbonnet drive. Okay, this is a Walker drive. The Charbonnet drives are the ones that ended up resulting in points, as we saw Sharp scoring those touchdowns and moving the field. And Walker did not look so great, but he also was in on a similar amount of opportunities. He just did not get the same amount of success for the off. They did not have the same amount of success. On the Pittsburgh side, Jaylen Warren was actually outstamped big time by Mr. Kenny G. Kenny G, I think, is actually still a good player. His line is 26.5 at FanDuel. That's the best price in market for his quote-unquote baseline, DK with 2 yards over. Nothing from Circa in this market that I'm seeing here. Would not be this far off market if they did have something. Otherwise, we'd be betting some unders at this point. But I'm curious about how they're going to continue this split, because they really loved Kenny G. He was out there running routes. He was out there touching the ball. He was getting the opportunities. And their third back, which not even listing right now. I don't know if maybe they deemed him inactive, but played the field like 2 or 3 times, that rookie that had a lot of hype, especially in like fantasy communities. But let's see where Charbonnet and Walker are priced at. 42.5 for Sharb. I'll quickly just go to Walker just to again get some holistic view here. 46.5. So still giving the market, still giving the love to Walker here, which is understandable. He's been their bell cow. He's been their guy. Circa 110, FanDuel with their little bit of juice there. DK all the way up to 47.5, 1 yard. With that 5.66% hold, of course, you would have thought DK wasn't going to have a higher hold, same hold as FanDuel, but of course, Circa's going to have that real hold there. I don't really want to make a stance on this one. We'll look at the touchdown market for these guys. And again, I also have the boost. So I'm going to be writing down the stuff that we are playing and want to boost so we can just like put those slips together just for the fun of it. Also have some bets I took on stream. Nothing in this game though yet. And we'll go through everything that I still like, whether if the market moved for me or against me. Not to pat myself on the back for potential CLV or whatnot. I've been streaming all week, boys. If you guys are just tuning in for the first time today, you guys are missing out. But all right, so that's enough. That's a good thing to note about this situation. I want to go to passing yards now for both QBs. Darnold is okay. He's sitting at a very low number, which I'm not surprised at. 202 at Circa, which is best price in market, which is never, from a DVIG standpoint, not great. Rodgers, 225.5 at Circa, 224.5 with juice to the over. DraftKings all the way up to 230. Okay. Rodgers, of course, lit up the Jets defense, which is obviously a little bit overrated. This game was a very low total, but so did last week, and these two teams flew over that number. The revenge narrative streets were out there as well for Rodgers. Look at some receiving yards here. Charbonnet, let's see. 9.5. Okay. Circa with nothing on him here. Look at JSN, and now the question also becomes, because JSN turned the hell up, you're going to have probably Jalen Ramsey circling on JSN, which is, of course, while they have Ramsey. He made a big tackle last week to end that game with GW on that hit. Circa at 68.5. The rec books here, Novig actually as well, not a rec book at all, but minus 112. We got a lot of liquidity there, pretty even on both sides, which sometimes you do see a big amount of liquidity on one way or the other, which could kind of tell you which way the overall market is kind of looking. But in this situation, nothing really telling there. Profit X, not a ton of liquidity at all on this market. Okay, let's look at Cooper Kupp, because the question is Cooper Kupp washed? And I think, unfortunately, the answer is yes. But this is a really low number, 31.5. Circa's not hanging anything here. I'm a little bit intrigued by this, but again, it goes back to like how bad is Kenny Walker, and of course we have a lot of options. Calvin Austin had that touchdown catch last week. I think Seattle's defense should be a lot better, especially in the run game. Their defensive line is good, and the Steelers' O-line might not be great. We know how Arthur Smith likes to run his offense. Definitely don't need bets in every game. Don't get me wrong here. We'll do look at some touchdown props just to see if we can find any value, but maybe we'll move on quickly. But I actually like the Steelers here on the money line, and as well as the -3. I'm curious. I saw the Circa Survivor. I want to take a look at that as well, just out of curiosity to see if I saw the tweets earlier. I don't have it, remember it, but here is. I can't spell. That's why. Week 2. I want to look at the week 2 selections. Let's see how many people did take the Steelers. I'm just curious. Steelers 491, 2.7% in the Survivor contest, not the Grandissimo. Again, not like a signal there, just genuine curiosity. Cardinals were number 1, 28.5. Can show the screen quickly. If you guys are familiar, Circa, this is the biggest Survivor pool in the country. They do an amazing job. As you can see, the implied value per entry, current entries live. We had one person lose with the Commanders and 19 no picks, man. That's funny. This is again just for fun purposes. We can look at the Grandissimo also if we want to. That's the 100K pool they run. But let's look at some anytime TDs. I saw some EV on Charbonnet earlier. Nothing at Circa, 230 at Novig, but a lot of liquidity to the under. So let's see if the market at least is saying this is a Kenneth Walker game, which so far that seems kind of like what they're saying. As you can see with the market, 182 with a lot of liquidity to the over. Best price is at Novig here. If you guys aren't using Novig, promo code BetSmart, you get your purchase match at Novig. Absolutely amazing, and they have their desktop platform now. No deep linking to the over there, which is interesting. Low total. I don't have anything I really love here, so I'm probably gonna stop belaboring the point. We'll look at some market stuff just to see if we find anything, though Circa's not putting up anything on this game, or if they are. PTO's not having it. This is the rookie running back, 16-1 at ESPN. Though the way that he was used last week is just impossible to really back that. But Jaylen Warren, of course, would steal some tutties. But if they're really playing, and I say if they're really we don't know how sticky some of these things are from week 1 to week 2. But it was the Kenny G show. Plus 295 at DK. If this price is real, which I'm guessing it's not, which is definitely screwing up the average here when you have such an outlier like that. Sport Trade NJ 302. 302 across the board at Sport Trade. It's not a ton of liquidity. I was going to say I kind of like this 295, but maybe not. Maybe this is just a game where it's priced too well at this point where we're not going to find anything too great. Circa 165, 175, 178 at Novig. Another one where Novig having a great price, though. B365, best price on market. But if you're not, or if you are limited there or not in a 365 state, Novig more liquidity. If you can steal that liquidity at profit, if you like it, feel free. Cup, I think it might be dead and washed, but 425 at DK as well as ESPN. Interesting. Anyone else that I know has been getting some play time, you can always look at Muth. Best price at ESPN, FanDuel with the 4-1. And where's what's his name? Mr. What's his name? Tight end. We'll see him when we see him. Jonnu. 330 at FanDuel, 350 at ESPN. Again, this average is now messed up with Betano showing crazy numbers that definitely don't exist. Canada there. 350 at Hard Rock as well. Jonnu Smith had what, like 5 catches for like 15 yards or something. Jonnu, anytime touchdown, tight end. I think that this is probably the best look if you want to think about the outside corners that Seattle has. Rodgers, of course, and not tons of great weapons. The DK Metcalf revenge game. I mean, I feel like if we're going to talk narratives, NFL, of course, being one of the biggest entertainment vehicles in the entire country. We know Narrative Street's going to be going crazy here. And so much liquidity on the under at Novig, telling me, hey, if you're square enough to bet this because of just revenge, especially in like a tough secondary matchup, as well as a good D-line against a Steelers OL that's probably not great, to take a quick look at that. But Novig's basically saying, or the traders at Novig are saying, keep your square thoughts to yourself and don't bet this over here. That's kind of what I'm seeing. All right, so I'm gonna move on from this one. Spent a good amount of time here. I'm glad to spend as much time as possible. We got a lot of time. So kickoff, we'll be utilizing the boosts. I'm gonna be writing down again legs of bets that I like and that I want to place for these boosts. FanDuel's got a bunch, DraftKings got a bunch. We'll be finding some stuff, but I actually did make a bet in this one on an anytime touchdown. It was just a good EV spot that I found using my EV filters, which I could go through my filters at some point as well. We'll kind of like bounce back and forth, maybe find some ARBs as well as markets keep moving here. But this kid on Tennessee, I don't know how to pronounce that last name. I'm not going to try to pronounce it. He's a rookie. I got 475, so some value, though. Still some value with this 450, as you can see, based on the market average. PTO showcasing me. Is a deep linking working here? No, it's not for touchdowns. It hasn't been for touchdowns. Would like to see that go there. But I bet this at 475 earlier this week. I saw some EV, Q Kelly. I think it's probably still good. I think this could be a very low scoring game. Of course, Cam Ward, no tutty passes in that debut against Denver. And of course, the Rams defense is still good. I actually streamed them in a fantasy league. And while I do like Ward, I think it's fair to like kind of pump your expectations on what he did early. Even though like he played in the toughest matchup and obviously didn't play well, even myself included was like, all right, but he still showed some things that made me intrigued. by what he could and couldn't do, more so in the former. But it really still was an ugly performance if you do kind of take a step back. And I think this game is actually prime for an under. Let's do a holistic again. Um, Back to the Circa. So there are 1,622 entries on them. 8.9% of the pool on Circa Survivor is on the Rams, with actually 4 entries on the Titans. I'm gonna look at the Grandissimo. Let's see if I can pull that up quickly on their Twitter. I feel like I probably can. Yeah, it's right here. Again, out of curiosity, the Rams got 6, which is 5.7%, of course, of the 100K pool. Steelers got 1. Again, this is not anything that I'm like utilizing for like betting the spreads or anything like that, because of course this is a money line contest. But this is just, how could you not be curious in what people who are betting or groups that are putting up 100K for a survivor pool or what they're doing? It probably does lead to some undesired, biases, and whether it be confirmation or either way, whether it be confirmation because you like something or because you don't like something to use. So maybe it's not a good thing to be looking at, but I mean, it's so interesting. Got to take a look. Back to the task at hand here. I did like the Titans. We saw the spread come down like pretty big. It was pretty high at open. That's total. So let's go back to the spread here. It was pretty high at open. It was like 6.5. Now we're getting down to the 5.5 territory. That's what Circa's got. The Tennessee plus 5.5 though has the juice. Bookmaker, the 108 each side, 104, 106 at Penny. FanDuel juicing to the under, DraftKings as well. Novik, a lot of liquidity to this under here at this plus 5.5 price for the Titans. 5.5, of course, a little bit of a dead number, but does kind of show you what the market thinks of these teams. And back to the total. Also, again, a game where I do lean the under for a number of reasons. One, because the Titans offense could probably still be terrible while the Rams defense is good. The Rams offense with some issues to their interior offensive line against the Titans D-line, that is still a good unit. Jeffrey Simmons, a couple other guys that they have there could cause some disruption. Absolutely. So I'm leaning toward this under. Haven't bet this. Like I have some games that have plays on that I am going to give out, as well as betting some stuff, even though it is, right before kickoff, like I said earlier. Like it's a tough spot because there's like not a lot of EV. You're not going to be getting good numbers, but there is, a lot is efficient. So like you're going to be hopefully like losing less because you're coin flipping on, closer stuff, which isn't ideal when you're paying vig, but is a good way to also bet the NFL. It's like you either bet early, get CLV, or you bet right before, like around this time or right before kickoff. A little square. I'm not saying deploy your whole bankroll. Like if you're going to bet these games, and like, let's be real, we're going to bet these games. Hopefully you do have some stuff in already. But if not, this is a kind of the time. But I have that touchdown prop. Curious what some passing yards are. And everybody, the chat is open, boys. So if there are questions about EV filters, I'll take a pause after every like 2 or 3 games and go to the EV and see what we can find and actually pick some stuff off and do it that way, as well as go through everything. But Cam Ward under, even money at Novig. Let's pull this up. Even money. This is the liquidity, the take and make on the order slip at Novig. Their desktop just dropped, I think, only a week and a half ago. Awesome. If you're not using Novig, sign up with promo code BetSmart. Nice 6.5. Even odds, $750. Minus 116, 563. But of course, you want to bet this on the under if you're betting the under for Ward, which I think is probably still a good bet with how good the defense of the Rams is, and market average of minus 111. Of course, Novig being a very sharp prediction market with their trades that there are on there. I always am a little cautious when it comes to trading against Novig, just because you don't know who's on the other side of that. And again, where we are in the day, in the time, could definitely be on the sharper side. But let's look at Stafford, what they're pricing him at. It could be a long day for Stafford. Of course, he racks up yards kind of regardless. Circa best price. Let's do some rushing yards. Again, because we have so much time before kick, I'm going through every game, but I do have some plays similar to last week where I can just go to and be like, this is what we bet, this is what we're looking at, and I will be writing some stuff down to to get these boosts going. We have a 50% boost at FanDuel on anything, 30% profit boost on anything, and then 30% SGP boost on KC Philly, which I saw at Prime Sportsbook, which is a very sharp sports book, and true market maker at this point as well. With the likes of the Circus of the world, great traders there, great heads of that book as well. I'll pull up this tweet from Patrick Everson. This is coming from Action at Prime Sportsbook there. This is where they have their pros versus Joes report. Again, I just want to be clear here. Of course, there are going to be times when NFL pros are winning, Joes are losing, vice versa. And of course, when you see these tweets and they're coming from Caesars or MGM or DraftKings, ignore. If Circa did something like this, maybe think about it a little bit. Of course, now Prime doing something like this, Prime Sportsbook. I gotta follow the boys there. Sharp book. This is what they have. They have sharp action. They say the Dolphins at the -2, Jets +6, Saints +3, Texans -2.5. That's Monday. Biggest needs for the book would be the Bears covering, the Bills covering, the Browns covering, Seahawks and Eagles. Pros versus Joes. They have all the Joes on the Chiefs, and they say the pros are on the Eagles. Last week, not that it really truly matters, but just for your own understanding, last week their pros versus Joes game was Miami and Indianapolis, with Miami being the Joe side, Indy being the pro side. And then pros and Joes unite, which I think is funny, where the action is on, Sharp and Square are collaborating here. Prime has Dolphins, Ravens, Broncos, and Falcons. I think there's some 3.5s out there, which we'll see. So just some notes there from Prime. Doesn't impact this one. Let's go to some touchdown props. Well, passing TD is worth, when it's this low at over a half a touchdown, don't get me wrong, you can definitely bet a 205 and get some value, though. Here, PointsBet, Canada has the best. I'll go back to Stafford. -112 at FanDuel. Now, this is interesting. This is something I actually do like. Because I do think it's this lower scoring game, and we know that the Rams are going to run Kyren to the ground, no matter what they say. Oh, we love this running back we drafted. We love that running back we drafted. They love Kyren Williams, and we saw that last year. The whole punt return. Oh, don't draft Kyren. What do they do? They say, "Hey, Kyren, here's the football," and they run the ball down people's throats with Kyren, who's just a stud, man. His Notre Dame this season, ND alum. His college team isn't doing so hot, but doesn't impact them. And I'm looking at the boost on DK. We have that ghost leg we could use. Live touchdown, of course, we'll use live, so not now. Another profit boost and some SGP stuff. So some fun here. Pollard, again, I'm not really sure how to make of some of these, honestly, in the prop market at this point. I have some bets that I've took, so we'll get to those quickly, and we'll do an EV run through after this one. But let's check the tutties. Anytime in first. Kyren -145, just no value. And let me go to my settings here and get that book turned off, because if it's going to can actually be there, if that's just going to ruin the market average there, I don't want to see that nonsense. I want to get the best, and that's not a PTO's fault. Whatever they're doing, they probably API feeds for any real-time odds screen or an EV tool, etc. There are issues with feeds. Definitely what's happening here, but let's turn them off and get a better market average there, so we can make better betting decisions and not be screwed off by an outlier there. And let's go back to, we were looking at Kyren, so let's just make sure it worked, which it should have. Where's Kyren Williams? Still showing here in best. Here I can do that. Okay. Then I should be off. And where was it? Betano. I saw them not long ago. And also, by the way, amazing feature of PTO is that they have, I don't know why some of these are off. They add some new books all the time. They have over 110 sports books on here, as you can see. Betano, I don't want to see any of that. That was UK, though. We wanted Canada because that was a number that was showing up. And maybe I am blind, but I don't see it right now. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Let's see here. There was a search function, right? Yeah, maybe I'm just a little bit dumb. Yeah. Bet. because I turned it off there. I don't want to see them in my market average. Controls, average column. You could set like DVIG averages as well. Minimal your liquidity, $100. Hide sports with no odds, yes. Change your how you see your odds, of course. Yeah, this is what we did over our settings here. Maybe that's because it's not there, but I don't want that showing up at all. Quick little delay here. We did this here. We turned off Betano Canada. So I don't want that in my prop settings whatsoever on my odds screen. So we'll see what's going on there. But let's finalize kind of a run through. If that's going to keep persisting, we'll just go to the EV screen because I don't have that there as well, and we'll find some EV. Shouldn't say the old-fashioned way at all because it's definitely not. But in the based on my calculations, because I have my own custom, and I don't want to see this bet on. Maybe I'll do a quick refresh of the whole site here. You get this out of here, man. Get this out of here. Because remember on props, maybe no, it should be off. And you can set your own filters on the EV screen. So, all right, average. We can set the average of all the sports books here. I just don't want to see this nonsense, but we're sticking to these books anyway, so we can go to the EV screen if we have to. But from a touchdown perspective, regardless, that's not going to be a play with how the market is set up on Kyren, Van Jefferson. Where's Puka? Obviously, Puka, I'm sure, is going to have some bad odds, but Puka is in the running, of course, for the best receiver in football. And now this is bothering me a little bit here. Let's go to the EV screen. We'll still going through game by game, but let's just try to find some stuff that we can bet. I built out 2 new filters. I've made this game lines this morning, so I haven't checked it. There could be some errors on my end. And I also have NFL TDs, which I made the other day. This is the first week I've used it. I talked about it on stream how never touched it. It's not just TDs. It also has player props, but I named it TDs early before. I was like, I might as well put all the props in one view. And then at that point, you can't go back and change it. But regardless, a lot of reception props have popped up here, but a lot of 365, which I know is not available in a lot of states, as well as also limits quickly. But like right here, you have a plus 120 on Brandon Cooks under 1.5 Rex, DVIG 2, Sport Trade New Jersey, Profit X, and Novig, who both have decent liquidity. Profit X on a very different kind of flip flop there. It's 2.2K on the over at Profit, minus plus 107. But again, that's at 365, which a lot of this is showing, which I just made this calc. So let me pause here so nothing's moving on us. But just interesting, as you see, all these are receptions. And a lot of them are, again, on some really soft books here. Swift over 2.5. Now, this is something I actually like because I was thinking about this earlier. Market average is minus 114. Hard Rock and MGM were the only ones showing it. DVIG 2, Sport Trade, Novig, and Profit. Sport Trade is at minus 117. Let's maybe make a wager. If you're limited MGM, sorry about this, as I am as well. But from a value perspective, that's there. D'Andre Swift is not a bell cow back, as we know. He's somebody who they had been using, though, as a bell cow. I like that a lot. I'm adding it to the card right now. Swift 3+ Rex plus 1 and MGM. Okay. Wrote down so we can get that. I'll bet that on my I can't bet that at MGM, but like anything that we do bet, I'll bet it on my phone because I always have location errors. But 6% EV, according to PTO there, based on I have it set to like I think it was like a flat bet. I was playing around with it. I got to fix that as well. But as you can see, receptions are showing tons of value. Again, this right here, it's Yoshi Vash to Penny Sport Trade Novig Profit. So a bunch of exchanges there, as well as the Mighty Penny. I don't have Bookmaker. Maybe I should add Bookmaker to this filter because it would show value there. But a plus 140, plus 119, 5% value. If you're a 365 user, Yoshi Vash as well. I'll write them both. I'll write this down as well. I mean, I've passed some other like higher EVs at this point. Like I do need to like, back test and see what's good. Honestly, just see if this filter is even going to be profitable for us. So great question, actually. One of my boys just texted me. He's asking about EV. He's a newer better, and he's like, okay, like, are you betting these based on, oh, like you looked at the box scores and because of that you like this, or like the player, the scheme, the defense that they're playing against. Is that why you're making the bet, or are you betting it based on like the odds discrepancy in the EV? Now, the answer is the latter. When we're doing just straight EV betting, or when you are EV betting, you're betting them because you're finding value in the market. You're setting your preferred books to DVIG from solely because you believe them to have a better accuracy of the fair market value of what the bet should be. And then there are 4 different DVIG methods, and I always use the worst case scenario, which makes you, which is exactly as it sounds. It's the worst percentage of EV that you're showing, just because so you're not overconfident in what your EV is. So you use the worst method. Now you could use, power method if you want to use powered, because you think that, you are more confident in those methods, and that will increase your risk because you're showing higher EV that may or may not be accurate. But no, like for the EV screen, when I'm on the EV screen, I'm just looking for, because I created these calculations myself with Pick the Odds. They have a custom EV, which I've gone through many times. I'll gladly can do so toward the end here, where you create your filters by market, by bet type, and for example, we're doing this is an all props filter. So I have specifically filters for the props where I'm choosing the weights of the books that I want to DVIG from, as well as the EV controls, the Kelly, which you can use, quarter, half, full, 3.5. You could do 33% Kelly if you want. Quarter Kelly is generally the most accepted. Again, the DVIG methods, I use worst case instead of all these because I want to use the worst case scenario. Minimum with 2 books, meaning it has to have a DVIG from 2 books, and so on and so forth. Talked about this a lot, so we'll gladly talk about it more if people are interested. But the answer to the question is, it's not because I like these bets. Now, there is a lot of bias to try to like sift through, because when you see something that has EV from a DVIG and you already were eyeing it, you're going to be more inclined to want to bet it. If you're an originator, of course, making your own numbers, then like that is kind of the confirmation bias you kind of are looking for. So no, the answer is like, yes, these are just when you're DVIGing from the market, this is what you're going for. And like this, for example, here, Kenny Walker, I wouldn't really want to bet this because I'm still unsure about the splits for, Charbonnet versus Walker. I talked about how it really seemed like it was like a per drive basis where they were just sharing their drives, or not sharing, like they were just alternating. And, Charbonnet's drives happened to go further into the red zone, into scoring and accumulating more yards. Is that a product of Charbonnet being better than Walker? That's a whole nother question that you have to ask yourself. So like here, I wouldn't necessarily be like, oh, I'm so inclined to take this, but because I'm getting a plus 160 with a market average of plus 119, DVIG'd to Sport Trade, No Vig, and Profit, which I believe to be sharper in these markets. And that is why I'm taking that bet. So a little bit of a spiel, but I hope I answered the question for my boy who just texted me. But if you have a question in chat, please feel free to ask here. But like I said, I haven't used this filter and tested it on a whole Sunday because I made it on Tuesday. So this one I made this morning. So there could be some errors here. Game lines, I have flat betting of 200 for game lines. And let's see what we got. So the Penny and Novig, over 41.5 points and Niners card. Oh, that's for next weekend. Okay. I could set the filters here to like not show next weekend. And this has all sports. Like if there's a baseball bet that pops up, I know we're talking football. We'll bet a quick baseball bet. Don't get me wrong. We'll bet a quick baseball. And see, I should have got rid of some of this, some of the soccer though. Bills Jets, we have third quarter money line. DVIG to prime and bookmaker here. It's at a Caesars market average plus 141. This is where you can get so in depth with it. I probably should have kept this to like main game lines. I can always, adjust this, and I will, and maybe get rid of some soccer stuff. This is Thursday Night Football. But here, right now, Jets plus 6.5. I know the sevens were available early in the week. Um, maybe there's a big move here. This could be just like a bet real quick. I'm gonna load up my on my phone here. Somebody logged in. Yeah, I'm betting this. I just bet it. I bet it. I know it's square. It's right before. It's one of those where Prime said the Jets got the seven. The seven was available early in the week. Got GRP snagged the seven. So this could just be like a late to move here on the Jets plus 6.5. You know, obviously the 6.5 is much different than seven, because seven being the key number that it is. But if you look at like the market move, and we can go actually to the odds screen here and see if that just bumped and moved, and we'll talk about that game now over there. Let's see. Jets. This is the 5.5. On pause here because that was obviously available. We just clicked it. Let's see a little bit of lag here. Yeah, this 110 on the Jets is the best price in market. Circa is sitting at 5.5. They just moved. Bookmaker as well juiced to the Jets here. Penny plus money there. Buffalo begging people to take Buffalo, it seems like. Back to the Prime Sports tweet again. Not that we're dying on this hill, but sharp action. However, they do need the Bills, so we can see how that goes. Every time the book needs something. Feel like that always happens, but all right, so we're in on the Jets. That's a bet we just took here now. I just bet that as well on DraftKings. If you guys are limited, DK, I'm sorry. Happens to the best of us there, but looks like we're back in the little Jets here. And holistically at this game, so I was talking earlier on stream, either Monday stream or Wednesday stream, how I'm intrigued still by Breece Hall. We'll see how this moved, because when I was talking about it on stream, the number was not available at a lot of sports books. It wasn't available at any books I could get. And that was a 55.5 number. I know this went up, as we can see, 61.5, circa at 63. So definitely some value for DVigging to circa there. I'm gonna add this into where's the best price? It's at FanDuel. So we have a 50% boost for FanDuel. What's like 70 plus? This could be square, and this is again back to overreaction week. And like if I'm making a bad bet, like I'll unfortunately make more at some points, but try to make more good bets. So the 130 here at 145, 365, if you guys have access to that and aren't limited to smithereens there. Good bet here. We saw what Henry did, and I feel like it's so obvious. It's like, yeah, it's King Henry. Like Breece Hall's not much better. They've talked all year long, or I should say all offseason long, how it's a three-headed monster with, Justin Fields being able to run the football. They love Braylon Allen. But Breece Hall, I feel like everyone is forgetting how damn good he is. And like, yeah, he had this amazing week one, so maybe we're not forgetting. And of course, everyone saw what Derrick Henry did to them. And of course, Breece isn't Henry, but Breece is still obviously awesome. I think that this is a situation where at this point in time, Breece Hall is going to feast. And in this DK boost, it's a four-legger. I'm adding Breece Hall 70 plus. Again, I could see how it could be like labeled square, and like we'll find out quickly, because he could put up nothing. The Bills could, rally to the football, and now next thing we know, Jets plus 6.5 are killed. And yes, Fields looks so much better running the football, or throwing the football, I should say, which is definitely encouraging for all things New York Jets. But all in all, I do believe that Hall can cook. So this is an example of like seeing a good value in the market, as well as like backing my priors here. But I'm adding into my rushing props here, Breece Hall 70 plus on DraftKings. We have a boost. We have to get 3 more legs in there over the course of the day, or we have the ghost leg. TBD what we use it on, but Breece Hall sitting in my bet slip on DK. And actually now at this point, I'm going to look at some of the other leans I had, and we'll skip from game to game. We're on the Jets here, so we already, kind of made our declaration here. The market told us to, and
I actually did like them, as well as, got a lot of confirmation bias. The Jets are probably going to lose by 50 now. But let's go to Jags Bengals. This is a game as well where I have an opinion here on some player props that I already bet. I bet Lawrence at minus 110 over 13.5. Numbers unfortunately gone, but this I talked about on stream, so I'll keep it short. They talked all summer about using Lawrence's legs more. Did not happen in week 1, but I feel like that doesn't mean it's never going to happen. I feel like it just means it didn't happen just yet in the small sample size of one game against the Panthers, where he did not have to even try. Not like the Bengals defense is bad or is good. Excuse me, it is bad, but I think it's going to be a much more competitive game, meaning that you're going to have your quarterback run a little bit more. So this plus 108 on 15 plus for Lawrence is I'm adding to this parlay. I'm not using the ghost leg. He's on a touchdown parlay, but for rush yards over under, well, we'll be doing alt. So Trevor Lawrence 15 plus 108. So there's 2 legs that I'm having. Got 2 more legs to go, but I'm in on that. This is I bet this at over 12.5 already this week, and I like it again here. I also bet Lawrence anytime. So plus 550. Let's see where it's at now. So I did get some line value. DK, and I'll say the book I bet it at just for transparency as well. That was at, because I wrote it down here. That was at DK. So it's sitting at 5-1 now at DK. I did get a 550. Market average is 430. So I still think this 500 at B360, at MGM, ESPN, and DK is playable. And like I mentioned, I bet that already, and market average is still there. Some EV is still there. So I like that as well. Beautiful. Let's find 2 more legs here. Again, I'm going to use the ghost leg for touchdowns. Not going to include Trevor in that as a 5.5 to 1. But let's fill out this 4-legger with some other value. We'll go back to talking some games here, but who was I looking for? Ravens Browns. I did not bet this early because, again, when I was looking at it, I think it was Monday, maybe Wednesday, have to have been Wednesday thinking about it. There weren't all the props out, but I'm going right back to the well if the numbers allow me with Zay. 4.5 receptions. I hate how DK has the worst price here. Epic Fantasy actually with the best. Not a lot of liquidity over here at Novig, though they do have a lot more liquidity on the over 5.5 alternate line. They just fed him, and he had an unsustainable, don't get me wrong, a clearly unsustainable amount of target share in that game. But I think they just love him, and he's obviously really damn good. Pro Bowler last year, 1K plus yards, and it's year 3. So there's no reason to believe that a player has to regress this early. Yes, there are so many times where you have random players go off for 1,200 yard seasons, and then you never hear from them again. They only have 2 1K seasons over the course of a 10-year career. But I think Zay Flowers is just a guy who's clearly going on the up and up all the time. I hate that DK has such a bad price for this lay here, but I'm a big Zay Flowers guy. We'll check yards, but I'm interested in receptions because they're clearly just shoveling the football to him in any way, shape, or form they can. And I'd rather do that in the reception market. So I honestly, even though with the boost, it'll probably be closer to market average, which is not ideal. You want to be boosting everything to be better than the market there. But I'm adding Zay to this. And because we're 1 leg away at this point, 155. Let's see what his over under is. Receptions over under. So DK's listing at 5.5 124, but you can bet the 5 plus at this minus 155 line that we saw. Not going receptions. I'm in on Zay and the over here. I'm taking this in the boost. I'm sold on what they're going to do with Zay. And let's get the last one going. So another play that I was looking at. We'll see if the market confirms the pricing here, if it's worth playing. This one's probably if this was a leg that loses, I deserve it because honestly, we're not betting as much value as we were betting on the other 2 legs. But I like some Dak here. This game, a lot of love for both sides, I think. The market has come down to Dallas minus 4.5 at some shops, which is a little bit crazy to me. I mean, think about what Washington and the Giants that closed, I think 5.5 even. We know Washington lost on Thursday and looked really bad, but it's like really the Packers are that good realistically, like more likely than the you know, it's like which team is like really like better? Like what are you really basing your decisions off of? Oh, it looks like we're back to 5.5, but this was 4.5. I mean, it's in both. It's really both. Circa just hanging the 5. They're like, why worry about either? We'll just sit right in the middle there. Um, but I want to look at Dak pass touchdowns. You know, Javonte stole the show on the ground. The old Mr. Javonte Williams there with the 2 running touchdowns. See, like this minus 140, it's still better than market average. Epic Fantasy with the best line there. It's better than Profit. A lot of liquidity to the under here at Novix. Not as good as Circa, but with the boost, it will be good. I'm gonna look at one more that I was looking at. I was looking also at where is it? At Zay. I don't have Zay. I'm intrigued by this, honestly. I think that Dak, and let's see what this brings the lay to, but I think that Dak will. Oh, there's one more. Actually, because I'm looking at the leans. I can also look at what I bet and just add those into this lay as well, because there is one more or a couple more props that I actually played. We have the Lawrence stuff, which I bet. And let's do one more check here. Actually, one of them is for the Chiefs Eagles game. I bet Saquon over receiving yards, but we have a same game parlay boost just for that game. So I'll probably keep that leg to that game. So I'm going to add Dak passing yards, but let's see if there is odd history here on over 1.5 and kind of where this has moved. Circa was higher in market and then kind of normalized. Novig, a bunch of jumping up and down there. DK, just out of curiosity, crept up their line. So I don't know if they're just juicing MGM, like really doesn't matter. But FanDuel been kind of sitting at their price they've been sitting at and like not moving off of it. Total in this one, got to cross check here some total. Maybe you could see a shootout. We know that there was a dropped touchdown by, Ferguson. CeeDee Lamb dropped a touchdown. There was a lot going in Dak's favor, and like there is a chance that the Giants DL does like really cause a lot of like mayhem for Dak. But even if it somehow gets to a game state where Dallas needs to catch up, that just leads to more like passing opportunities. We'll look at passing yards just out of curiosity here, but I still am intrigued by the passing tutties because it's like Javonte Williams is so not good, and like Jalen Carter wasn't playing. Of course, he got kicked out of that game. I don't think it's going to be as easy for Dallas to get these like runs up the middle here. Dak passing yards. Yeah, like this is a high number. Of course, I'm locking in touchdowns. So Dak, this parlay, we have 4-legger here. Passing props, pass TDs, Dak. Let's see if they're doing any crazy pricing. No. So right now, 4-leg parlay with DraftKings. We're using the 30% NFL parlay boost. The legs of this bet are Breece Hall, 70+ rushing yards, Trevor Lawrence, 15+ rushing yards, Zay Flowers, 5+ receptions, and Dak Prescott over 1.5 passing touchdowns on DraftKings. Locked and loaded, boys. Just bet it plus 1624 with the boost, getting some value on all these legs of the lay. So obviously it's a 4-leg parlay, makes it tough, but we are compounding some EV found via Pick the Odds. So that's half the battle here. All right, beautiful. We have a 50% boost on FanDuel. We're gonna bet some first touchdowns, some more anytimes. Talking all games. Beautiful. Just getting this into the boys. Have a group of guys who want to watch the stream that love seeing the picks. So of course, got to show them what I'm cooking up, even though of course they should be in stream. I don't know what the hell they're doing here. All right, beautiful. Let's keep going on this game. I don't have a side. I did not bet a side. The only sides I bet are New England's money line, which is apparently one of the biggest Joe games on the board according to Prime Sports. I've talked about this on stream all week, so we'll keep it short. I'm not overreacting to Miami stinking on week 1. I said Miami was going to stink all summer long, and because they did stink, I don't think it's like, okay, now it's time to buy back. I think it's okay, I'm right, and they actually are worse than you think. Injuries galore to this terrible secondary. Injuries galore to this bad offensive line. Drake May did not look great in week 1, but I'm not deterred by that, honestly. I know the Patriots pass catching unit is not great, nor is their offense, nor is their defense, but overall, I'm not convinced that Miami is like, okay, bad game, bounce back. Players only meeting after week 1. Mike McDaniel clearly not a leader of men. Tua is clearly bad at football. Tyreek Hill on this team, no secondary, no OL. Drake May at this point is probably a better QB than Tua. Vrabel's definitely a better head coach than McDaniel. Give me all the Patriots. I know the market told me to screw myself. I bet the 111. It was at Novig at 111 earlier this week, and the market, you can see what time yesterday it moved. Might have been 2 days ago at this point, but I know there was like a big Miami push. Let's circle into Dolphins money line. We could probably find exactly where that was. Look at Circa here. Have to go back a little bit more. Yep, here we'll see that. As you see, they were sitting at that 113 mark. That was 3 days ago, and like boom, right here, on the 11th here, it bumped up 3 days ago, just like a massive jump from minus 118, boom, hit up to minus 132, where it's kind of sat and stayed there. So that's there's only one explanation for that, and that is a sharp or group of sharps waited for limits to rise, saw the limits rise, and said, "We love Miami. We're betting Miami." And I could be dead wrong here. I would personally still absolutely bet this plus 120 at Novig. Call me square. Like I said, the Prime Sportsbook's telling me I'm square. Marcus telling me I'm square, because not only did they bet the money line, they took the points. Of course, being such a low spread, that a little bit irrelevant to a degree. I bet the 111, and I have, again, Novig over my phone. The location is just never works for me on stream. So I'm doubling down, honestly. Not a ton of liquidity. I'm not going to bet a ton more, because I did take a normal position that I would take on that 111, which unfortunately doesn't look too hot here, but I'm betting that. Just moved to 118 on me on the take. Okay, hold on. Let me see here. Money line went to 118. Let me pull up on my phone. It went to 118. I'm just curious here. I'm looking at my phone. I don't want to spend too much time doing this, but it's view market 118. Oh, that's why I'm dumb. Okay, no, we're good. 120 is absolutely still there. Okay, that's user error. What else is new? On NV. So I doubled that position. Didn't double the full position, just took a little bit more, but I'm not scared of the market. Player props here as well. I did get a bad number, I think. We'll see. Confirmed numbers might have moved since I last checked earlier this morning. But I faded Tua, man. I know that they just let up 300 plus passing yards to Geno Smith, but when are we going to stop pretending like Geno Smith is not a good quarterback? Good, of course, is relative. But when are we going to stop pretending that Geno Smith isn't above average? And when are we going to stop pretending that Tua isn't well below average? This number, I bet it at 234.5. I'll confirm. Yep, which I think I did lose some value, unfortunately. I think it was at 236.5. So again, if this is really pros versus Joes, I'm the squarest guy in the room right now. I'll take the L there. It's 235, 236 at Circa. So I did lose 2 cents of value there. 237 at 365 and DK minus 112. I bet minus 111. I would, let's just confirm this availability. I would still bet this, man. I know I love to do a lot of stuff from the EV perspective. I'm not sitting here saying that I'm originating such great numbers or anything like that. That's not the forte. But with that being said, I love that under. I know there could be a game state where they're coming back, but I'm not buying it, man. I think I'm really out on all things Miami and Tua. And the market, I could be out on Tua and the and Dolphins, but Tua could still go over this number if the game state necessitates it. I don't know, man. I'm on it, but let's look at some touchdowns here. Total overall, I do think that Drake May could finally have some success here. Finally is probably not the right word. The 43.5 under that key number of 44. NFL environment this year is obviously not a lot of points being scored so far to start off this year. But haven't bet any tutties. And we have that ghost leg parlay. We're going to use that for touchdowns. 50% boost on FanDuel. Bet some first tutties for the boys. I had a lot more that I already played coming into stream last week, but always fun to bet that together. All right, let's do it. Kayshon Boutte, I saw some EV on him earlier. I like when I can devict the circuit, but this 375, it's 365, which is annoying. I think Boutte could definitely become WR1 here. Diggs looks absolutely washed. If you have a 365, I would absolutely bet this. We see some value here compared to market average of 288. I can't bet 375 because of lack of availability. 320 at DK. I guess 325 at ESPN in New York is the best I can get. I would bet this Boutte. Sounds hilarious to say it like that, but I'll write it down for the boys. I think that's a good bet. I do. I also think, I wonder where Diggs' pricing is. Okay, this is really still bothering me because we're ruining our average here, but we'll just look at what we got. I don't think that Boutte should be this much off price compared to Stephon Diggs, who is not running the same amount of routes that you would expect from him. He's obviously old. He obviously has off-season, yacht trips he was dealing with, if you want to say dealing with as the what's going on there. But no, I definitely think that Boutte should not be priced that much worse than Diggs. So that's again confirming that for me there. Pop Douglas scored last week. 450 for Pop. I want to confirm some usage here. I'm going to pull up FTN on my other computer that I use for some of my advanced statistical analysis. It's an amazing feature as well. We do have some betting tools, but overall, I absolutely think it's something you need to pair with a pick the odds. It's not something that I would rely on solely for finding EV unless you're straight up a modeler only, but you still need to use the market and devig and adjust. So definitely works very well in tandem with a tool like Pick the Odds. I just typed in Pop. He's not going to show up. Demario Douglas, 62% of snaps. In the end zone, he had a touchdown. He had 7 targets, only -2 receiving yards, which we know, but they still threw him the ball 7 times. Let's go back. Let's look at Diggs. 7 targets as well. 6 receptions, 56% of snaps. And Boutte, 77.5% of snaps. I'll show you cases over here. Some of FTN Stats Hub, which is awesome. I could pull up the whole Patriots here. Let's just do any. Don't need Boutte. So route participation, snap percentage. Just filter. Hunter Henry, Kayshon Boutte, Ramondre, Pop, Diggs, Travion. So long story short, again from pricing, I don't see why Diggs is higher. I know they targeted him 7 times. Boutte did get more targets. He had the 103. I don't think I need to do any more convincing there, for myself or for chat. It's also a pricing play too. I think Pop also at this number is just better. Of course, you can go to the backs where Gibson got 3 snaps. Not 3. Didn't get any targets, clearly. He did run the ball. I'm looking at receiving only. Rushing for any. Did he not run the ball? I know he was on the field, so maybe they didn't record any box score stats. Obviously, Antonio Gibson's washed. Travion, they did not use him as much as you would like. Rushing. Why not showing Trey? Obviously, he was he did tote the rock, not a lot, but maybe it doesn't need to be qualified. That's why I qualified going. So Gibson had 5 snaps. Travion only 23 snaps. Pop Douglas 62 from the even in the running game they're saying, 'cause he had the one attempt. Okay, that's why I'm reading the data wrong. Ramondre was the guy, but he didn't do crap, man. I'm not ready to back this Travion train because of the lack of usage. Maybe this is the week where they let him go a little bit here. But also I shouldn't say the last guy, but like Drake May ran the ball 4 times for 11 yards. This 450 at DraftKings, I think, is enough said. This is a bet for me. No deep linking here, but I'm betting Drake May touchdown. I'm gonna add it actually also to the ghost leg parlay as well, but I'm betting it straight at 450. I'm betting the Patriots. Drake May, of course, has the athletic profile. Clearly no, like Ramondre's RB1 from like a first game perspective, but he had 2.1 yards per carry. Right, Travion had 5.4 in his limited attempts, so maybe they just like do give it to Travion, and that's why his odds reflect what they do. But let's look at Ramondre while we're here. FanDuel, which I think is a little bit sharper, is saying Ramondre, while DK is saying Trey. I'm saying Drake. 450. I'm in on Drake May anytime. I'm going to add it to the ghost leg parlay. So that's one leg. Probably keep that to a 3-legger. Of course, we're going to try to get 10 to 1. We're almost halfway there already. Look at some Dolphins while we're here. The stats are not going to be great for Miami, of course, because of how they played last week. Achane with that heroic touchdown to get them from being shut out last week. Two had 1 attempt. Achane 7 for 55. Malik Washington had a rushing attempt for 9. Ollie Gordon had 2. And let's see receiving. Achane 4 targets. Waddle 5. Reek 6. Gonna look at Achane first. His odds are gonna be like crazy. I know Achane's a touchdown machine. Don't get me wrong. I love myself some Devon Achane. Like he's a hell of a football player, but even money at DK actually. It's actually a good price. And Drake May just dropped the 425, boys. In the slip. I mean, I bet the straight, so we got the straight in at 450. But it went back to 450. A little quick back and forth movement there on Drake May. Interesting. Not that I love this game as like a scoring play, but if Achane really is the best price there, which he is, not like if he really is. Vivek DeCirca, FanDuel, Novig, and Profit. Novig not offering an under for this. I'm adding Achane to this. I don't know if Ghost Leg could be used on a SGP. Let's confirm. Yep, can be an SGP or SGPX. So I'm doing 2 tutties from this one, Achane and May. But let's check out the prices while we're here. Being conscious of time just because we have a bunch of games to still go through, which is awesome. We have a bunch of bets that we've taken so far. Patriots money line here. Went through like everything that we've taken so far. Getting tagged about teaser prices and how the way that they're priced now is not the move. Okay. If you get -120 still, wherever that is, I know DK, of course, said screw you to that. But this is already what we want from a pricing perspective. Some touchdowns as well. We've gone through this, we've gone through this, we've gone through this. We've more or less gone through this, though. Obviously, Justin Fields stole the show from a touchdown perspective. We already bet some Brees, Brees rushing in that lay, but what's stopping Mr. Hall from scoring a touchdown besides Fields or Braylon vulturing? And in my opinion, at +140, +150 at ESPN, nothing. Absolutely nothing. I think this game had 47.5 total. We're on the Jets as well. Give me Brees in this. +140. Ghost leg. What's the max there? $5 wager. So annoying. Whatever. Drake May, Devon Achane, Brees Hall. That's the lay. So the way that ghost leg parlay works is if like one of them do not score, you just get the win of the parlay at the new odds. So in this case, Drake May is the obvious one to probably not score. It would be a two-legger of Achane and Hall, which obviously isn't the most fun thing in the world from an odds perspective. I could have added more legs here, but okay, so that's another one. And we're gonna bet some more straight any times. I think this 150 ESPN. Let's can't confirm it there. I'll go. Let's do this. Let's just get to ESPN and we'll see the pricing of it for confirmation here. ESPN is available in NY, which is great. Okay, TD scores. Obviously, the second tab. Anytime TD is becoming my favorite market top bet. Yeah, bro. Like the thing is, like it's something it kind of reminds me of home runs in baseball, where like on the surface they're the biggest sucker bet, but if you are devigging properly, like it actually is a lot of value on some of these anytime touchdowns now. More so in football with so many options, but like for something that is like so square, seemingly like there really is some value to be captured here. And what are we looking for? The Brees Hall 150. Yeah, absolutely, bro. Absolutely one of my favorites ones to bet because it's just not even it's obviously it's the fun factor, but it's also like as square as it could be. It's like similar to again dingers, where if you're doing it properly, there is some value to be had there. So run through this game. We took the Jets with the points, which is obviously going to lose now. Just jokes. Talked about a bunch of these games, but let's find some more touchdowns. We have the FanDuel 50%. But let's look at first touchdown here. Actually, we haven't bet any first TDs yet. Again, a bet that's more for the fun and for the show, but like also like again, if the market is telling us it's a good bet, it could be. And obviously, like I'm betting on like Josh. Like we're talking about the Jets Bills here, so of course Josh Cook are going to be two big guys here. Let me look at Underdog quickly because I know that Sauce wasn't practicing, nor was well, Wan'Dale Robinson's active. Devon Witherspoon's inactive for the Seahawks. Okay. Trent Williams is active. Jawan Jennings is active. Jalen Wright is active. Mason Taylor is inactive. Mason Taylor active. Andrew Thomas inactive for the Giants. That's big. Worthy out for this week. Judkins to play 10 to 15 snaps. So it looks like Judkins is not getting suspended by the NFL. Okay, but let me see. Let me search. I'm on Twitter. This is like big news for this. Let's see, Ed Oliver. Is he active? Notable inactives for early games: Jair Alexander, Isaiah Likely, Keaton Mitchell, Patrick Ricard, Teron Johnson, Ed Oliver is inactive. Okay, love that for Brees touchdown. First touchdown, which is obviously not the same, but it looks like then hold on here. I'll go to the Underdog so you guys can see what I'm looking at here. Storm Duck not playing, Darren Waller, Jalen Wright, Gonzalez. I knew is not playing. I should have called that out though for my Patriots bet, but they're not playing. Deron Bland, Jaden Blue, Mozzie Smith, Andrew Thomas, Jameis Winston, as we know, inactive. So Sauce is playing. Keon Coleman. I love me some Keon Coleman. Let's while we're here, go back to ESPN because okay, this is just total. I was gonna say because I know that. Okay, first touchdown score. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. Keon 16-1. I like this a lot. ESPN, I could bet. I'll bet that on my phone real quick. But Keon Coleman, first TD, 16-1. Beautiful. And then let's go back to PTO because I do want to see what Brees is because if no Ed Oliver, Odds are probably bad. Yeah. Not terrible. It's 9-1 on DK. I mean, like, yep. So I'm gonna bet some of these straight as well, but gonna do a little parlay because again, it's for the fun. But first touchdown, Brees Hall. We're in on that as well. Other game we haven't talked about a bunch of these games. Bears Lions. So I bet the under in Bears Lions. I got 47. I got a 47. Hold on. It was at minus 112, so unfortunately not available. It did go up to 47.5 for a bit, I think, yesterday. Back to 46.5, which obviously 47 is a key number. It's hard to give it out. This Hard Rock 120, though, is still playable if you do have a Hard Rock. I like the under here. I think the Lions are a dead under team now, the way their offense goes, and the Bears. You watch Caleb Williams play football. I mean, at that point, it's like enough said here. But someone's going to have to score, even with the total that high. What's Goff passing yards? So I might look to fade Goff again, depending on what it is. I know they're on the turf, the fast field at Ford Field, which they were so good for, so long. Let's look at some stuff on FTN and see how the Lions snap counts were going last week. They mentioned that they want to get Isaac Tesla a lot more involved. Bears on the short week. Yeah, that's it. I love this under. I mean, I bet it at minus 112, which was the best I got at the time. At minus 110 with the way the market went, like you made a great bet. So absolutely should be feeling good about it. Whatever happens on the field, you cannot control. As gamblers, we can only control what we can control. Jameson Williams outsnapped Amon-Ra, believe it or not, both with only 4 targets. Of course, Jahmyr Gibbs, 10 targets, 63% of snaps in the passing game. Goff, of course, smothered all game, but now we know that Packers defense is beyond legit. The way they shut down Washington. Maybe not a fade of Goff here, but let's look at some touchdowns here. Tesla scored that touchdown last week on that one of the best catches you'll ever see. Not betting Goff first, Tutty, that's for sure. Flip side, Cole Kmet. Let's look at the Bears. I'll look at FTN. I'll pull it up as well for you guys. Bears, because Colston Loveland, 47% of snaps. Olamides, 42%. DJ Moore, 75. Odunze, 85. But Cole Kmet, 81. Only 4 targets, only 1 catch. Anytime TD 6-1, that's like so worth it, honestly. What's first? I don't think the Lions just come into this game and turn up. I also think Caleb Williams sucks. I've talked about this for a while, like not just basing off last week. 35-1. I'm interested, man. I'm absolutely interested. 35-1. Like Loveland had 2 targets, which is 2 less than Kmet, and also played under half the snaps. Like, yeah, they could be bringing him on slow here. Caleb Williams with the scripted drive to start the game, as we know last week, but Cole Kmet first touchdown at FanDuel at DraftKings, 35-1. I'm so intrigued by that. I kind of want to bet Booty first. And we don't know what's sticky, what's going to stick around in terms of like usage here. 16-1, 20-1 at ESPN is the best price here. We could confirm that availability. Keon Coleman. Let's see. We got to go back to NFL. Where are we looking for? Right here. TD scores. First touchdown. Keyshawn. Where is he? He's got to be here somewhere. I'm blind. There we go. 20-1. I'm intrigued by that. I'm absolutely intrigued by that. Whereas this game on DK, having to build this out. TD scores first touchdown. Keyshawn Booty. Komet Hall Booty. What's this? 5 to win 30,000. Yeah, tread lightly there. But that's all fun and games, man. Obviously, we're betting on the 3 of the underdogs in this one. So two 6-point dogs and 1 2-point dog. We're also the market said to, screw myself here. But this is all fun and games at this point. This is just for a nice spot. Well, let's go back to the EV screen and see what we could find from an EV. That was enough debauchery there. Of course, still have the 4 o'clocks and the Sunday night to go through, and probably 1 or 2 more 1 o'clocks. But we have a lot of time. We've been streaming for over an hour. We got another 40 minutes or so here. Okay. This is my game lines. Alternate over. Showing some value here. A lot of value. This is just wrong. There's just no way that's a real thing. We'll confirm that on profit. I'm so confused here. I'm going the wrong way. What is going on here? Yeah, I think someone's trying to maybe pull fast one, I guess. Yeah, bet longer available. Get that away from me. Gotta be clicking buttons that I should not be having any business clicking. We have a lot. I got to filter this also to get rid of. I mean, I'm curious to bet early. Like I said, some baseball, like little tour first 5. Now we're seeing some more like realistic stuff. An alternate line Seattle. Again, if I see some EV on baseball, I'm not going to say no. Jets first quarter money line plus 150, showing some value to prime bookmaker circa penny. Give me all of that. Give me all of that. Give me all of that. I'm betting it on my phone right now. Jets first quarter money line. I'm in. Plus 150. DraftKings quarters, first quarter plus 150. Go back to PTO. They confirm. I should probably change I have to mess around with this filter because it wouldn't be a $200 flat bet. I was really more for, the main markets here. This is, of course, the first quarter market here. But give me all of that. Give me all of that. Jets first quarter money line. I should probably add some FanDuel to this, realistically, to this filter. But I'm all for it. Jets first quarter money line. Give me all that. Let's keep going through some EV here. Again, new filter. So if it's dog, you can blame me. First half Bears 3.5 at FanDuel. Oh, come on. Let me pause this here just for the stream. Where did that go? Even money. Let's confirm its availability. But I think it's also a play. I think it's also absolutely a play. 3.5. Yep, I'm in. We have also some boosts on FanDuel we got to utilize. Don't get me wrong. I'm well aware, boys. I'm well aware. But I'm betting this. Bears first half plus 3.5 at FanDuel. I hate Caleb Williams, but I also hate what Detroit is doing. And I hate their current situation. Even money. I'm in. Boom. I just bet it. Bears first half plus 3.5 showing value on PTO. Enough said. 2.6%. So same amount of EV as that first quarter money line. Beautiful. New York first half money line, showing value across the board here at FanDuel, plus 174. Stake actually with the best odds, plus 156. Again, 2.5%. Like, this is a bet. This is a bet. I'm taking it. Too much Jets action for somebody like me who it's down to 5.5, but we got the 6.5 at DraftKings, which is good for us. Of course, we missed the 7, but that was only available early in the week here. Jets first half money line plus 174. It's here. I'll just confirm this for you there. One click on PTO and it pulls it to your bet slip. But because I'm on stream, it always has nonsense there. I just bet that as well. So Jets first half winner. I'm in. Boom. Plus 174. A lot of great liquidity to, or I should say, DVigging to Prime, Pinnacle, Bookmaker, both a bunch of exchanges here. This is just showing EV. If FanDuel, for all we know, is now the sharpest book for first half. So again, one bet's not going to dictate whether it is or isn't, but that's a good bet there. Some baseball here. Alternate under in Cincy having some value. Alternate under in Carolina under that 47.5, which is a good thing. Okay, Pittsburgh -3, 115. Let's look at the market here. You know what, guys? I mentioned it earlier on stream. I like the Steelers. I actually bet them in a parlay. That's a square parlay, but I like Pittsburgh as well here at this -3, 2.1%. This is, of course, a higher limit. I'm betting this as well. I know we're talking about betting NFL spreads right at game time, but like I said earlier on stream, which is just a fact because it's so efficient at this point, it actually is a good spot to do this because you're going to be losing less realistically because of how efficient it is as you're paying big on coin flips. But with that being said, give me Pittsburgh -3. I just locked it in as well. So finding a lot of good stuff, man. I'll go through everything that we bet as well. Let me 15. Jets first Q. Jets first half. Bears first half. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Getting down to some 2%, 1%. Of course, these can add up over time. But let's go back and finish up some of the board here and see what we can bet from a odds perspective here. Have the 50% boost on FanDuel. I want to definitely use cook a ballet for Chiefs Eagles. Spoiler alert, I bet the Chiefs. I know Prime Sports said it's the squarest bet of the day. It's your pros versus Joe's game, but hey, man, you're giving me Patrick Mahomes as a dog. I'll be as square as you want me to be at all times. Talking about all the ones, so we're officially done with the ones. Panthers, Cardinals. I use Cardinals in all of my Survivor picks. I know they're one of the highest Survivor picks across the board, which is well known, but I'm in on the Panthers cards. Now, Colts, Broncos. I missed a good price on the Colts. They were 3.5 for a minute. 2.5 is like pretty widely available, though. Of course, you missed the key number of 3 there. At this point, I think it might have gone too far. And I actually kind of like Denver. And Eagles, Chiefs. Let's build out a lay for this really quickly. I think this could be a low-scoring game, but I already bet Saquon receiving yards. I am big on Quan and receiving to start the season because he has all the physical tools to be a great receiver. We know that he's a great receiver, or like has the skills to be a great receiving back. He's been doing a fantastic job. He dropped a couple of passes last game, but overall, he's somebody who can obviously turn a small gain into a big one. I got this at 14.5. Let me confirm that. I'm almost positive it's 14.5. Yes, it was 13.5 actually. So I did get some value here at the 16.5 number. But DraftKings, do they have a boost on this one? I don't think they do. Just FanDuel. Okay, so I'm going to do this plus 120 at 20.5. 25.5 at plus 186. Saquon can break a big one, and we know the Chiefs like to keep things underneath. Saquon can obviously break a massive one. So we have a same game parlay boost. So I'm going to go receiving props, Saquon over 25.5 plus 186. Hurts is 212. Hurts has been cooking the Spags defense lately. TD scores, Quan's only 138, which is so low for Quan. Best price is at DK, but like for the boost that we're going to be using, that is value. So I'm actually betting quant anytime. It's going to be a correlation tax there. I also kind of like the under here. Let's see what FanDuel has. We'll look at the whole market on PTO. 46.5. Let's look at the rest of the market here on the total. Call out from Foss, who hit a beauty on stream on Monday or Thursday. Cincinnati Jacks first quarter over 9.5 minus 110 at DK. I'll pull it up. Hopefully it's still available for you guys. I'll leave this. I'll leave that there for you guys to see because I want to finally build out the rest of this leg because we are close here. But any 47s and a halves, like it's not worth buying there at that price. But Foster sharp, boys. He's calling out this play. He called out a beauty on JCM under. Found some EV air on stream on Thursday. So keep riding with him. I'm definitely going to check that out right after this because I'm so close. And receiving props, let's see, Gank Calcaterra, 12.5. Pacheco. So I'm going to pull up FTN quickly because I want to look at the numbers for Pacheco in the run game. Kareem Hunt was like out snapping him. Let's go to FTN here quickly. I'm looking at this bet right after Foss. Don't get me wrong, brother. Marquise, 16 targets. Feeding him. Kelsey, of course, we know is basically washed. Pacheco, though, 42% of snaps, did have 3 targets for 3 receiving yards. But let's look at the rushing, because this is where I'm more concerned. Yes, he outsnapped him, but same amount of attempts. Pacheco looked good, if you ask me, and the 5 yards per carry is kind of confirming that. But they were still using Kareem for like goal line and third down stuff, which is like concerning from like a fantasy or like a scoring perspective. But let's go back to PTO here and look at some Pacheco props because yes, now we saw what Javonte Williams did, but Jalen Carter is in this one. Not spit unless he spits on Mahomes, which at this point we can't rule out here. I don't want passing tuts. I want any time because it could be a Kareem Hunt if they're gonna just do that. But Hunt looks so bad, man. Like he's so slow. What are they pricing Pacheco at? I'm just so curious. 2-1. Best price here at Nova. Good liquidity both ways. So I'm not really sold on Pacheco, but let's compare it to Hunt. $255 at FanDuel for a guy that they were giving the work to, right? Like let's go back to FTN here and we can confirm that red zone. No red zone carries, no goal line carries. They weren't doing any of that. Which Mahomes had that 1 carry. First down carry. So that's the third down work that they were giving him. 2 first downs because they were having him getting those quick ones. EPA per attempt was lower for Pacheco, higher for Kareem. DVOA. Neither guy's obviously had a good fantasy game. All right, so it's just so tough. We know Worthy's not playing. Serious some other guys because points have to be scored. Like what is stick to the basics here? What's Jalen? 111 on FanDuel. Better than average there. Could be a good book to DVIG from. Obviously Tank is in the mix now though. We have Saquon anytime and Saquon 25+ receiving yards. Juju 340, 360 to Penny though. Sort of receptions because someone's got to make up for these Worthy receptions. We know it was. We'll go back to receiving here. We'll look at FTN. Let's go back to snap count. 70%. They were giving some deep shots to Thornton, but you know that Fangio likes to keep things in front. Marquise, of course, was that main target. His receiving prop is 58.5. Juju's 34.5. He had 55 last game. He's just getting so many targets, like 3.5. He had 5 targets, 5 catches. So he made 100% of his catches last week, according to FTN. Looking at this number here, let's go to receptions on FD. Plus 114. I feel like they have to throw the ball to Juju, honestly. Get this menu out of my face. Player total receptions. Juju Smith-Schuster over 3.5. If we use the boost here on this one, we get to plus 841, and I like this a lot. So we're going on a big Quan game, a big Saquon game and a Juju to just catch the ball for 841. Alternate line on Saquon. Saquon anytime, but I'm betting it plus 841. I just locked it in using the boost here. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. All right, boys. We have a lot of good stuff going on. A lot of good stuff here that we've played. Let's go check out that Cincinnati Jacks. It might be gone because definitely a sharp call out there on the first quarter market here. But let's see what we get from pricing wise. Total points. First Q. Nope, still there. I'm telling, brother. I'm in. This is a good bet. I'm going to DraftKings right now on my phone here. First quarter of Cincinnati Jacks. We know the slow starting Jaguars, but I don't care. I see value, and I'm riding with my boys. So let's do it. Quarters, first quarter, over 9.5. Good value to market. I bet it. I'm in. Let's do it. Beautiful. So we have a ton of shit that we just played recently. Let me go through everything that we have so far for today really quickly. I'll go for like another 20 or so, find some like fun first touchdowns. Also, we could pull up some ARBs quickly. While I read through everything, I'll pull up the ARB screen. So I'll see if we find any big ARBs that you guys can get in on while I'm reading out some of the stuff that we bet for today. Don't want to ARB on the same book, of course. Try to find something that is on a couple of books. I'll pause so if it goes away. My apologies. Never ARBing on the same book. Books that heavily limit. I'm going to try to find something that's not going to do that for us. Which is always, of course, a challenge. Not enough liquidity there. More than enough ARBs, don't get me wrong. We clearly see them. Not on big markets, though. A lot of arbitrage opportunity here. I'll just pause up top here with the biggest ARBs that aren't 365 only. So these three right here. While I read through what we got, I'll put these to $100 because I'll assume they'll take 100 here on these, and hopefully you guys can make yourself some free money while I'm talking about some other bets that we've taken. So bear with me, boys. Here's what we bet so far on stream. We bet Bengals, Jaguars first quarter over 9.5 minus 110. Steelers -3, -115, both at DraftKings. Jets first quarter money line plus 150. A fun bet, 3-leg, anytime tutties, first touchdowns. I like these all straight as well. Breece Hall plus 900, Cole Kmet plus 3,500, Kayshon Boutte plus 1,600. Shop around best price for the books. That's just on DK that I use that at. We bet also the ghost leg parlay, Drake May, Devon Achane anytime, as well as Breece Hall anytime plus 2,780. Drake May anytime plus 450. DraftKings touch parlay boost. We bet Breece Hall 70 plus, Lawrence 15 plus rushing both. Zay Flowers 5 plus receptions. Dak over 1.5 passing tutties. Jets plus 6.5 minus 110 on DK. Moving over to FD. What we bet so far, we just bet a parlay, same game parlay boost for FanDuel, Barkley 25 plus receiving yards, Barkley anytime, Juju over 3.5 receptions. Jets first half plus 174. Bears first half plus 3.5. And other things that we played pre-stream were DeAndre Swift plus 3.5 receptions plus 110 MGM. Keon Coleman first touchdown 16-1 ESPN. Boutte anytime touchdown plus 375. We also bet pregame as well. We bet on I bet Patriots money line. I doubled down at plus 120. Not a full double down, but add some more liquidity. I had plus 111, so we average out those two to around plus 115. Bears, Lions under 47, and Chiefs money line. So a ton of action for the boys. Now let's finish off stream. Hopefully you guys got in on some of these ARBs if they're available. Literally free over $100 with just putting up around $500, under $500 realistically. At some of these books, I know 365 is probably limited or not available to a lot of you guys, but to the ones who are, even at lower prices, hopefully you guys just got yourself a free $100 for the day slate, which is always fun. But let's round out with some first tutties. I went through every game. We have Sunday night as well. Falcons Vikings. We do have a boost. Haven't used that. Not sure if I'm going to use that on stream. We have a bunch of stuff going on. Yes, Swift plus over 2.5 receptions was at plus 110. That was very early in stream though. That was like 10 minutes into stream. So probably close to like 20 because I was yapping for the first 10. But yes, that was early. If that moved against us, that would never be fun. But that was early in stream. We'll confirm pricing for what it is now. But yes, it was Swift over 2.5 at plus 110. Let's get the pause button off. Let's see what it is now. That was at MGM also, by the way. Receptions, DeAndre Swift. Yeah, unfortunately it moved, brother. It was DeAndre Swift. Again, very early on in stream. No, my bad. I think if I said over 3.5, it meant 3+. It was absolutely it was 3+, over 2.5. Yes, sir. That's my boy. Let's finish up with some fun touchdowns. So first tutties, we have Brees in LA. We have Kmet. Let me write these down. Again, I have them, but Brees, Kmet, Keon, which of course only one of Brees or Kmet or one of Brees and Keon can score that, as well as let me go back to that slip there. Booty. Let's look for some other fun ones. Seahawks Steelers, no. I mean, shouldn't say no. Someone's probably going to score a touchdown. I have to say probably because you really truly never know. First tutties here. Yeah, and he's been used like that. He was used as the bell cow. They were putting him in and they were letting him like operate in that capacity. Whether or not they should let Brees, DeAndre operate in that capacity is another question. But they had him, and I'll pull up FTN quickly as well, just so we're seeing that. Shy receiving. Teams. Shy. DeAndre Swift, 5 targets, 3 receptions. Like you said, all coming in the first half, but I don't think that's going to like change the game plan. They want to get some easier throws for Caleb. Whether or not he hits those throws is going to be a whole nother conversation. But all right, first touchdowns here for some Pittsburgh stuff. No Witherspoon, as we saw on the inactive list. Calvin Austin, big target of Rodgers, 16-1. Charbonnet, 13-1 also. ESPN having great prices on these. I wonder if, I'm sure a lot of guys are limited here, but they're consistently having the best price in market. Interesting. One of the exchanges had 9K on Seattle +3. Went against Sharp Books. I still took pick -3. I bet pick -3 as we saw as well earlier, as it popped up as EV on the EV filters. Interesting to see, because this is something I listened to. It was I don't remember if it was a pod or just a bunch of tweets, but it was talking about the I think it was just a tweet from a Sharp guy, and it was talking about how like people are talking about exchange prices. It's more specifically like the Kalshis, other prediction markets, of course, like the Novigs and Profits as well. You have market makers who are like setting the line. They're saying how like those lines should be like the source of truth for a lot of information. But what they were saying is the reality is a lot of those market makers are just reposting lines from Sharp Books and making the market, because on those prediction markets, the market doesn't exist until somebody makes the market. So why wouldn't you just copy a devigged average price of, Penny, Bookmaker, and Circa, or maybe even a different exchange, and just post that as the market, because that is the market. So very interesting stuff, because it's like, what do you use as a source of truth? Which exchange is going to be better? What price is the real price? But a lot of these prices are just coming from copying lines from the Sharp Books in the first place, because that is the market, and that you're making the market elsewhere. Interesting stuff if you ask me. Gonna try to find some stuff here, but again, this is a game where what's Kenny G? He's been getting the love, as we saw. 15-1 ESPN. I like that, honestly. Because he's been getting the snaps. And we didn't bet anything in that game yet. But Kenny G, I like for a first touchdown. Just based on how much he's been playing, 15-1. That's very nice for fun. I think it was at Novik. That line is now gone. 9K, which is a good amount of liquidity that they had on there. But that's very interesting to note, brother. Thank you for pointing that out, because that's that again, like, information game is what this is, and like that is some really interesting information. If anything, like if that's all it is, just something interesting to note for moving forward. Add it to your back pocket and think about it, because that is honestly very interesting. We already Patriots Dolphins have some booty. Giants Cowboys, of course, Javonte was the one getting in there. Look, I do want to check what like a CD is, or what's a neighbors. I mean, there's value on Malik. Obviously no Bland. I think that's absolutely a bet on DK. Market going toward Giants as well. Malik Neighbors first touchdown. Yeah, that's also a great point too. That's a fantastic point. You had 9K of liquidity on such an off-market price, and like you said, it evaporated. And like, why did it go away? Because people bet that shit. That's a great point. That's very well said, and absolutely worth mentioning. Yeah. If people didn't think that price was egregious, it'd be there. It'd still be sitting there right now. So really, really great point. It is promising. 3, of course, being a key number. Maybe we push and this is all just a big laugh, which is of course very possible. But no, I really do like that perspective, because it's honestly it's a fact. It's not even like an opinion. This is a 1-game sample. So if Pittsburgh loses by 50, you can look back to this part of stream and be like, yo, like, what are you talking about? Like, square, like, that's not how it works, man, in a 1-game sample. What are they pricing Judkins at? I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not here to bet some Judkins at 35-1, or am I? They said he's playing around 10 to 12 snaps, or they're going to give him a goal line snap. Now that's a whole nother ball game, especially with the way that Sampson played. That looked really good. 16-1, which is still a great price. Best price over here at Play Now Sports. I don't really want to get involved with Cleveland. It's just too much nonsense with who can do it. Fannin, of course. I should say everyone. I mean, Mr. Flacco loved Harold Fannin, the way they were throwing him the rock. And Njoku, I got burnt by last week. He was moving in quicksand. Obviously, that means he's going to score this week and look like the old Njoku, but I don't want anything to do with there. Mark Andrews was a ghost last game, but I don't think that sticks, and the market agrees with their pricing. ESPN have hanging the best price on first tutty. So if you're going to be betting some fun first touchdowns, ESPN clearly has been the spot. I noticed it last week. Probably will be quick to limit, but if you're betting just a lot of first tutties there, it'll keep your account going, and there is some EV, even though it is such a volatile market. But worth noting. Okay, Seti Tillman. Now we're talking. So much uncertainty with who could score the first touchdown in this Ravens game, because of course you have the King and you have Lamar, and of course you have Zay, which, like, I want to guess what. I'm not looking. I didn't look. Did not look. I'm curious what King is. I'm going to say 4-1 first tutty. Even worse, 375. I couldn't even get a 4-1. I guess best price over here is at 888 Sports. Lamar, I'm going to say, is probably closer to 10-1. I mean, the way they're pricing it, Lamar hasn't been running as much. I'll guess 10-1. Not even 10-1 MGM. Okay, so kind of on market. Some good mental guesses there on everything. No fingers crossed. Did not check those prior. Let's see what a Zay is. 750, lower than Lamar, which makes sense because Lamar's been chucking the rock. I know I love this kid. He returns kicks. I'm not betting this, but just curious. Circa hanging the best price there, 8.5-1 or 85-1, I should say. Just curious what a Bateman is, 12-1. But all in all, like if you had to put a gun to my head and like say who to take, because I know that people are saying that like this is such a much more difficult matchup for Cleveland and Cincinnati from a defensive standpoint. And yes, Josh Allen played as close to like a perfect game as a quarterback could ever play in that W. This defense still sucks. The Ravens defense is not good. Like, what teams really have such good defenses at this point? We know the Packers have such a good defense. We know the Eagles have a good defense. We know the Chiefs have a good defense. The Texans, the Rams. When looking at really who have the top 10 defenses in this sport, it's not the Buffalo Bills. It's not the Baltimore Ravens. These are teams that have made livings off their defenses, but dating back to last year, the Bills had one of the worst defenses in football. And even in the 2 years prior, where they had these like really high rated defenses, when you went back and looked at the quarterbacks they played and capitalized on, they were beating up on second and third string quarterbacks that were dog, like absolutely dog. So I think this obviously it's a Bill situation here, but even in the Ravens, like, yeah, Josh Allen turned up on them, and like getting smoked by Josh Allen is like not the end of the world, because we're talking about a future Hall of Famer who I like to talk shit about because I'm still Team Lamar. That's my dog. But obviously Josh Allen is a freaking animal. Nuke does not get enough snaps. I mean, they can throw him a deep ball, but he's like not. I'll pull it up right here on FTN for the boys because he's just not getting the stats there. I should say the routes. Zay 88.2. Hopkins only had 17 snaps, 33% of the snap share, 2 targets, 1 of them for a touchdown. So like I am not betting on that coming down. But let me go to Cleveland because of all the ways they can go. It could obviously be Njoku, it could be Sampson or Judkins, it could be Fannin. I am digging this boy right here, Seti. And based on the pricing back to PTO, if you're putting a gun to my head here and saying, who are you betting? Like Judy, not far off, don't get me wrong. 20-1, but Seti, I think this kid is good, man. And I would not be surprised to see. We know Flacco likes him. I would take Seti. Of course, we're talking about an 11.5-point underdog to score the first touchdown. So obviously, Derrick Henry's going to run for 60 yards to start the game and call it. But 3-legger, Neighbors, Seti, and Kenny G. I've never seen an uglier one as well. Fields has never won a game where the other team scores 21+ points. Listen, if he wins the first quarter, then I'm satisfied. Because for obvious reasons here. But that's an interesting stat, man. Is that more of an indictment on him or on just the Bears and also the Steelers of last year? I would say the latter. I'm going to do one more first tutty lay for the 4 o'clocks only. But for first touchdown fun, again, emphasis on fun, Breece Hall, Cole Kmet, Kayshon Boutte, all straight and parlayed. Also like Keon Coleman in the Jets game, if we're going to have to go with the Bill there. And then also, again, for fun, Kenny G, Neighbors, Tillman, if you want to, round robin some of that, like feel free. Again, I'm talking about $3 bets here. So like, don't crucify me here. Again, all for the fun of the game. But I want to do, again, for fun, at 4 o'clocks and maybe some prime time. We'll see where we find some good prices at FDDK or ESPN. Those are what's coming to me. But Bills will plan to make Fields pass. The thing is, like, call me crazy. I'm not saying Justin Fields is all of a sudden a great passing quarterback. But the way that this Jets offensive line looked, and with Fields now, year 6, he's made strides. And I know they're going to plan to make Fields pass, and Breece could be so square, though they do, of course, now do not have Ed Oliver in the middle of that defense. I don't think that making Fields pass is as bad as making Fields pass 2 years ago was, or even last year. The Jets might be a little bit devoid of like overall skill players outside of G-Dubs and Garrett, or Breece, excuse me. I don't think that that's like the end of the world anymore. I don't think that's like, okay, that means Justin Fields is passing, he's going to turn it over 4 times. I could be so dead wrong. Bet the Jets. Some pros bet the Jets, as we saw, which again could be meaningless. Pros are going to drop games as long as they're hitting 54+% to 56%. They're chilling if they're betting -110. Call me crazy. I don't think that's a death sentence. I don't think that's like, oh, absolutely. Don't get me wrong. I talked about this earlier in stream where like week 1 is always an anomaly, and which is why week 2 is aptly named overreaction week, because when you have the extra time, it's essentially like a quadruple buy that you're utilizing to plan for one team. And we see these anomaly game plans for one team. And yes, it could have just been a perfect scenario for matching up with the Steelers and the time that they had. And maybe the Steelers even, took the gas pedal off or weren't as nervous about the Jets as they should be. And I absolutely believe you should be weary, which is, again, why this is overreaction week, because it is an entirely different time to plan. But the Jets' offensive line is even like 75% of how they played against Highsmith, Hayward, and Watt against this Bills DL without Ed Oliver. Game plans aside, of course. New head coach, so I don't want to talk. I know the Jets have done really well against Josh Allen in the past, but that was, again, a different regime. You have Aaron Glenn now, new coordinators, new quarterback. I don't know, man. I could be on the square strongest person ever. My numbers, though, which I do make for every game, I had this spread set at 5.5. So I got the 6.5. Did good betting. Time will tell. But like obviously we got 30 minutes until game time here. I'll go for another with X amount of time until I get this one. I do want to just look at again between these 4 games just for the fun, some first Tutty scores. I'm all the way out on all things Carolina. Dude, he is ridiculous. Like, again, I said it earlier. I like to hate. Like, I have a group chat with my boys who are like, obviously everyone's pro Allen, and like I am pro Allen, but I like to stir the pot in group chats. And like, I'm like, nah, bro, Josh Allen just a tight end. He's just a tight end playing quarterback. Same way we say like Justin Fields is a running back playing quarterback. It was fun to talk that shit, and like I'll poke fun here and there, but like, brother, he is, yes, he's on another tier. Like it is almost time to have the conversation about Allen Mahomes. I know some people are already there and say Allen is better, and I can't say like, no, you're tripping. Like I did last year, but like now it's like, bro, he played a perfect game against the Ravens. And at this point, it's like business as usual. Like that man is gold jacket territory. On another tier, he might, like, it might be tiered. It might be. I'll admit that. Absolutely. It really might be at that point. First Tutty is for fun. Let's see what we can get here. I kind of like a Kyler Tutty. Don't know if it would be the first one. Again, ESPN. If you're not limited there already, brother, they are. They are. Again, I like to hate for fun because it's always fun to stir the pot. I'm not a hater to the core. I just like to talk shit to friends and etc. just because it's fun. I'm not actually a hater. Like, for example, when it comes to Caleb Williams, I am a hater. He stinks. When it comes to Tua Tagovailoa, I am a hater. He stinks. When it comes to Josh Allen, it's a pot stir. But like, dude, nah, he's he's on another planet. Let's see, because I know that Mr. Harrison was open. Okay, the pricing is indicative of Marv being actually good. Trey, yeah. Okay, it's just going to be a tough one because again, we got a lot of like crazy plus prices because we bet on a bunch of dogs. Now we're looking at some favorites here. So obviously the pricing is going to be a little bit, I want to say wonky, just like make more sense. But like, who the hell do you bet on the Panthers? Like, you can bet Chuba, sure. You can bet T-Mac, of sure. Again, ESPN with some great square pricing on these bets. Are you really betting on Xavier Legette? Like, he sucks at this point. Like, we could just say it openly. He's bad at football. Are you betting on Hunter Renfrow? I'm not betting on Hunter Renfrow. I don't care if this was 3,000 to 1. I mean, at that point, I would definitely bet it. But like, you guys know what I mean. You're betting on Sanders. All right, I gotta pull it up for Carolina and just see. I'll take a peek. But no, we bet so many underdogs where it's like, there has to be, just Derrick Henry. The same way like Bijan. We hit Bijan for his touchdown last week at 5 to 1. Yeah, it's sick and fun, but like, there's going to be a Bijan like that. Listen, man, like if it comes like when push is coming to shove, I'm taking market price. Like I shouldn't say taking market price. I'm trying to beat the market, and if the market is telling me what the price is, and some of the like low level originating and like ball knowledging stuff I'm doing, like I am going to compare it to the market, but like on a guy like Get where I just think he sucks without like running a like projection or anything like that, then like I'm deferring to market. So I do not blame you for tracking the market, going with the market, and betting on the market. 72% of snaps, still 7 targets. So like I can see, especially receptions where you don't have to do anything with them. You just have to catch the football. You can get tackled right away. You don't have to like break away and make a play. So I'm with you on riding market and betting good prices in the market. I just do think he sucks. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure PTO has like some of that good stuff because they have the odds for everything. The new rules, 35 yard line on a touchback, of course, trying to, incentivize returns. Some return guys maybe do have some more value. I wrote about this actually in a newsletter for like overs and touchdowns. Of course, overs have not been the case in 1 week sample, as last week was a massive under week for the NFL. Like I don't even know who to take in this one. It would have to be a Cardinal, but I also don't have to take anything. So again, looking for some fun. Broncos Colts, just curiosity. Could look at some what's JK? Makes sense. Troy Franklin's running some more routes. I'll pull up Denver's passing chart here on FTN as well. Now we're close to kickoff. We already have we're looking at some fun stuff now. If you guys are tuning in late, we've bet a bunch of good plus EV bets found from Pick the Odds, as well as like from my numbers, which whether or not they're good, time will tell. Very small sample size, as we know, in the National Football League every single year going back and forth. But we're kind of unwinding pre-kickoff. I'll go for another like 5 or so. But pulling up just for transparency, or not for transparency, so you guys can see. Sutton dominating, but then Troy Franklin was WR2. Dobbins more snaps. Mims only 46.6%. We know he's got that deep ball threat, 4 targets, but like Bo Nix might just suck as well. That's also something to consider. Circa with the 22 to 1, so nothing really good there. And again, like I said, I actually didn't use the 50% boost on FanDuel. Like, who do we like that we could just boost for like a tutty? That'll give us like massive EV. Or someone we kind of overlooked. Wouldn't really say overlooked. We bet some Drake May touchdowns straight. So I don't want to like double up there. Let's look at Keon's prices, because I do think that Keon Coleman, like again, you could have lost an overreaction to the last game, but like to me, when I had a prior about a player or a team or et cetera, and like it kind of was proven right, 1 week does not mean that was correct or incorrect, or for you guys as well if you had a prior that looked wrong or looked good. But like I'm big on Keon. I'd like, if you want to, talk like fantasy, like I traded for Keon in a couple of leagues. I made sure to draft him in redraft. I do dynasty. Like I traded Odunze for Keon and 2 third-round picks. I was getting a lot of mixed reactions from like league mates, like terrible trade to like great trade. Obviously, I thought it was a great trade because I made it. But the point I'm making is like I think Keon's turning up is like not a coincidence. I also know that a lot of that output came late in the game, and also that touchdown was like relatively lucky. But also you look at a guy where on that 4th down play when they needed a tutty, what did they do? They threw it. I mean, don't get me wrong, throwing a fade to anybody unless it's Julio Jones, Calvin Johnson, or maybe like one other guy is never the move. But they threw it to Keon. They threw it to Keon. Red zone looks, and I saw like I forgot what the numbers were. Maybe FTN has them, so I'll pull them up and check right after this. But like, it was talking about how Keon like didn't get separation. I don't think it was FTN saying that. Maybe it was PFF. But that was like I saw this in tape guys on Twitter talking about like kind of like refuting that. Like, what are you talking about? Like, look at some of these like plays. Like, what do you mean there's no separation? Like, there's clearly separation. So I'm using my 50% boost on Keon anytime straight. I already decided 250 is the best price in market. That's not PointsBet Canada, which I don't think a lot of us are in Canada. But I'm all in on Keon, man. I think he's a great player. Red zone looks like you mentioned there, Foss. Like we saw it. We also saw his downfield threat. I didn't say I don't buy the lack of separation because like maybe that's not the best way to put it. But like the truth, I actually that is the best way to put it. I don't buy it. Like I saw the tape guys, and like again, I'm not saying I'm an all 22 genius or a tape grinder, but like he looked open. Like I think he was open. Like he was open, and you know the results speak for themselves there. Don't really want to like grind into anything else. We obviously have a little bit of time before kickoff. Use Keon there. I'll read through. I'll go back to the ARB screen. I'll do what I did again, and I'll read through the bets, and then we'll call it. Could be some high limits that pop up like in the next 20 minutes, but another example of why I should be using Pick the Odds because one, you have some of these free money ARBs. Again, not the best books. I'll do 100 here while I read through some of the stuff I took. Again, money's green. Who cares if you're only $99 liquidity there? Who cares if you're only, you're arbing up Alec Thomas hit run RBIs if you don't know who that is? Let me pause. Because money is green there. It doesn't matter if you're betting on table tennis, you're betting on soccer, you're betting on whatever. Money is green. So I'll leave these up. Hopefully, that's the only $100 liquidity. Hopefully, some of you guys can capitalize on some of these. Ivan Herrera K's, like $66 of free money, though I don't know if B365 will let you get 283 down on that. Try your best there. But again, it doesn't matter what it is. But bets we took. Keon anytime, touchdown with the FanDuel 50% boost plus 276. First touchdown scores straight, as well as a little parlay for quite literally $2. Kenny G, Malik Neighbors, Cedric Tillman. Same game parlay boost for Kansas City and Philly. Barkley Tutty, Barkley 25 plus receiving yards. Juju 4 plus receptions plus 841. Jets first quarter money line plus 150. Breece Hall, Cole Kmet, Kayshon Boutte, first touchdowns, as well as a little parlay that's ridiculously odd. So again, don't expect that to hit. Ghost leg parlay with DK, Drake May, Achane, and Breece. DK parlay boost, Breece Hall 70 plus rushing, Trevor Lawrence 15 plus rushing, Zay Flowers 5 plus receptions, Dak 2 plus passing tutties, Jets plus 6.5, Swift 3 plus receptions plus 110. Have some more Bears plus 3.5 first half spread. And then back to here. Let me get the rest of them. Also, pregame I bet Patriots money line, which apparently is square, but I'm all in for it. Steelers -3 -115. Jacks Bengals first quarter over 9.5 -110. Jets first quarter money line plus 150. Hold on here. Okay, I just made sure I got those in straight. And that is, and Drake May anytime plus 450, which is still 450. Okay. And that's it, boys. That's it. We had a great stream, a bunch of great plays, a bunch of fun plays. And I also bet Bears Lions under 47. I don't know if that's available still. Hopefully you guys got in on some of those ARBs quickly and they were there. Could run through the EV, but I'm actually going to call it. We got, quick time before the game starts. So everybody, thank you so much for hopping in. If I do find a Sunday night play for the parlay, which I definitely will, I'll get that out, but I'll call it here. Monday, I'll be streaming tomorrow with 2 Monday night games. I think the game starts 7. Let's confirm that, because I'll stream at 6. Otherwise, I normally stream at 7. It does start at 7, so I'll configure my streaming schedule for tomorrow, but I'm 100% streaming tomorrow. So make sure you guys tune into that. Shout out to everybody for being here. I really, really appreciate that. You guys are absolutely the best. And we have another week of the National Football League. So let's cash some fun bets. Let's cash some good straight bets. Let's make some money. Best of luck on all your wagers today.